Hi guys, so for my final project I'm doing a paper about push, and so basically I was thinking about, I'm still toying around with my thesis, but basically what I want to argue is that women who don't receive validation in conventional ways, maybe they feel rejected by society or society's norms or standards, as in not being white, heteronormative, able-bodied, having a concrete and consistent source of income, for example. They might seek validation through unconventional means like sex. And basically, when that outlet is revoked or made unavailable, then that's like I can't think of the way to word it, but every time I write it in my notes, I say it can make women short circuit, and it can instead of blaming men who are possibly objectifying them, or are not engaging in like perhaps consensual, perhaps have healthy sexual relationships with them, instead of blaming the men who in these situations are the antagonists, they look to blame other women or themselves. So, like Precious's mom sees Precious as competition rather than a victim of sexual abuse, which is terrible, but that's just, and then, Precious has a lot of negative internalization. And so, yeah, okay, so sorry that took 2 minutes already, but I wanted to explain my thesis and the basis for my paper, so you have some context of what I looked up in the library today. So I actually have been doing a little bit of research before we went to the library today, so and I've used a bunch of these databases before for other classes. That being said, the library was obviously, and Mike, both they were super helpful, but what I found, I just have the tabs open, I found an article called Monstrous Mother, Incestuous Father, and Terrorized Teen, Reading Precious as a Horror Film. So the hard part is I'm not completely sure if these will be relevant, I guess precisely relevant to my paper or thesis, but I've found a lot of things that by the titles or the indexes they seem fairly applicable, so I've gotten excited about them. Hopefully I'm not getting my hopes up too soon, but yeah, as soon as I do a little more investigating, obviously I think I'll feel better about them. I also found a book. It's called Sex Hormones, Exercise in Women. So this is kind of interesting because the index seems to show physical effects of sex on women, which I guess I'm more focusing on like psychological or emotional effects, but I figured if there was something in there that was it seemed like a relevant chapter. Exercise, depression, anxiety disorders, and sex hormones. So maybe like mental health could come into play. That might be getting a little too broad, I'm not sure. And then the other resource I found is a thesis called Examining Effects of Sex, Familiarity, and Conflict on Patterns of Dominance and Warmth. Haven't read it at all, but I swear by that title, like it's gotta, be, I feel pretty strongly that I can use it somewhere at least. It is so it's kind of interesting because I found a thesis, I found an article, like a scholarly article, and I found an actual book, and only one is extremely focused on Push, the novel, exactly, but I think the combination of these sources is gonna be really interesting to read about, and I really think they'll all come in handy when writing my paper, crossing my fingers, because they all look really interesting, albeit lengthy. So anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed my analysis or elaboration upon the sources I found today, and yeah, that's it.